Now that it's November, I've been having the urge to really get my life together before the year is over. So in this video, let's spend some time together and focus on some of the goals that I want to achieve before 2026 is here. And since we're doing a soft discipline challenge, let's do it in a calm and cozy way. Lately, I've been looking into all the little ways you can help increase your iman. I like to make a list of the things you could be doing, and I call the list the Iman menu, because every time you feel your Iman is at a low, you could look at the menu, and similarly to you being in a restaurant, you can pick from the menu that which you really need or crave the most. And the list or the menu can get very long because there are so many small ways in which you can pull yourself closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of my favorite ways is through learning about the deen. And I know I talk about this all the time, and I hope you're not tired of hearing me say this, but learning about Islam and the Sunnah and the history, it is to me one of the best ways to feel this incredible sense of gratitude for our religion. And if you didn't know, attaining knowledge in Islam is actually mandatory for every Muslim. So if you were needing it, here is your sign to seek Islamic knowledge. So I just finished with the morning pages. I actually managed to journal a lot ever since the last video that I made, where I mentioned that I want to finish this journal before 2025 is over, just because I want to start the year with a new journal. And since then I have written so much that I'm actually almost halfway through the journal. When I started, it was not even at a quarter, so I've been writing a lot, which can make me wonder if I am okay, but that's another question. One of the things that I was kind of reflecting on today was something that the man who held the lecture yesterday evening was saying, and it was a quote from someone who basically said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, "I did not worship you out of desire for Jannah, nor did I worship you out of fear from your hell. I worshipped you because you are worthy of worship." Something along those lines. And it made me wonder, where am I with regards to that statement? Because of course a lot of things you could be doing out of fear for Jahannam or out of like desire for Jannah, but are you also doing your worship mostly because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of doing the worship? And I kind of had the humbling realization that I think there's a lot for me to improve there, just because I think most of the things that I do are either, like it was said, for fear or out of love, but most of the time not necessarily out of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of worship, and that's solely why I'm doing it. And yesterday the lecturer said that, let me see, you shouldn't consider the good deeds that you do from kind of a transactional perspective. So for example, you shouldn't go and pray, for example, tahajjud or give charity because you think that it will end up with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving you something in return. So really doing something, expecting something in return. And that is also something that I've been reflecting on during the morning pages, where I really had to kind of ask myself, am I doing something because I expect something in return, or am I doing it solely out of love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and because I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves good deeds? So not necessarily saying I'm super good or super bad, but it's just something that I've been writing about. And I also mentioned in the last video that sometimes tea bags have questions on them and sometimes they don't. And if they do not, then I kind of make up my own questions. So the question on today's tea bag is, are you worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of love, in awe, and in because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of worship, or are you doing it because you desire Jannah or because you fear Jahannam? Just a question to reflect on. And the lecturer also said that there's nothing wrong with fearing Jahannam or desiring Jannah, because of course it's very natural for us to do so, but it's good to know that an even higher level would be worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala solely because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of worship and you do it purely for that reason. So like I already mentioned, I have been writing a lot more, and it made me realize that I actually want to kind of write for real. And lately I've been spending a lot more time on this app called Substack, where people just kind of write personal essays or post tweets. And I feel like it's such an inspiring platform just because everyone is kind of pouring their heart out. It really is a platform that is all about writing, which I really like. I also would like to write essays or articles myself, but like the many things that I want to do, I just don't make the time to do it, even though I could definitely make time for it. Also because I am already writing so much for myself, so why not just make what I'm writing for myself kind of more public. So basically there are a lot of things that I really want to do but never really make the time for, and I thought it was a good idea to dedicate like one portion of every YouTube video to do something that I've been postponing. Basically also for you to have kind of that sign that you can and you should make time for the things that you have been wanting to do for some time now. So another example for me is, for example, that I want to get back into crocheting. So for today's video, it will be starting something, like starting a personal essay for Substack. It doesn't have to be finished by the end of this video, but it's just kind of a reminder for myself and for you as well to just go ahead and do the thing that you've been wanting to do for some time now. So right now I'm going to start with creating kind of a Substack essay or article, or yeah, whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't have to be finished, it doesn't have to be good, but sometimes you just need to start. So that's what I'm going to do now. Another thing that I want to do right now is to focus on the surah that I want to memorize this month. I have Surah Al-Asr for this month planned. But one thing about this surah is kind of confusing me, is that how it's written in the Quran is different from how it is like recited whenever I search for a recitation. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is, and I'm also not sure if I should memorize kind of the longer version or the shorter version, specifically how you would use it in prayer. So I'm going to do a little bit of research into that because I want to make sure to memorize it correctly. And I also wanted to thank you all for the kind comments that I got in my last video with regards to the memorization goals that I have. So if you didn't watch the video, basically I'm trying to memorize a new surah this month, and for this month it's going to be like a very short surah, but I do have some difficulty with learning new surahs just because I have this limiting belief that I cannot really do that. Thank you so much for the kind messages that I received after that video. It really means a lot to me, and so far it has really motivated me to just continue with memorizing little by little.